My grandmother bought me a Schwinn bike.
Nice.
And the guy recommended that I get a helmet. And my grandmother said, well, that's 2 gifts. So pick the fucking bike or pick the helmet.
Wow.
Because that's 2 things.
Yep.
Hello, everyone. Hola, mis amigos. You're listening to Oh My God Hi, Hijo de Dios. Hola. With me, George Lopez. Porque, ¿sabes qué? Let's do the show. Porque I got a lot of things to do. I gotta go to that dry cleaner ahí. My kid fell. Se pegó la cabeza. I gotta go get some Neospore and Paul.
You know what George is?
Oh, I'm sure he's around here somewhere.
What's his name? George?
Lopez.
George Lopez.
Oh my God!
OMG.
OMG! Hi!
Oh my God, hi!
Support for the Oh My God Hi podcast is brought to you in part by our friends at Blue Chew. Guys, it is all about confidence when it's time for sex, am I right? Sometimes stress can affect your performance and ruin the fun. Thankfully, BlueChew.com is here to the rescue. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code OMGHI at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code OMGHI to receive your first month free.
I have this brand of beer. It's pretty good. Here, Gil, you take the one that fell. This is very popular
Be careful with that.
amongst the natives.
I don't drink. I'm too good at it.
You don't drink either? Fucking finally guys that have seen the light.
They hit their peak.
Although,
welcome.
cheers. And then what it was?
It was a peak. wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then what is that you're drinking?
Peak and, you hit your peak and your valley.
Water.
No, the other one. Can you say or you don't?
Oh, yes, Kratom and Kava. Sponsored by these fools.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Okay.
Let's introduce the guest, Grant. I'm trying to.
Yeah, absolutely. Joining us
Because
today.
we'll talk for an hour and not say who's here.
we have done that. Joining us today on the podcast, we have Tony Hawk and Jason Ellis of the Hawk vs. Wolf podcast. On top of
Congratulations.
the many other things you probably know them from, but we'll get into that.
Both, I would say, living legends. So your guys' podcast is Hawk versus. Who wins Hawk versus Wolf? If they threw down on a level playing field.
Damn.
What do you mean, damn? It's just a reality.
Because
Finally, the answer is me. Everything else, he wins. But that one, I win easily.
Oh, throwing down, yeah, but I thought you meant like intellectually or...
Oh shit!
No, I'm just, once again, fight. Let's fight, you know?
So I live up in the hills over there by the observatory. I've seen wolves over there that look like they haven't eaten in fucking 17 years.
Yeah.
They'll eat a person now because they're scrounging around.
Yeah.
And coyotes too. And then I have my own hawk in the neighborhood that has had kids. I guess little hawks. But when I first moved into the house, I was laying down and I could see the top of the telephone pole, and it looked like somebody had their back to me, and I said, is there a fucking little kid up there eating a sandwich on top of that telephone pole? It was a hawk with his back turned. That's where he goes to eat.
It'd be a wild kid if it was a kid.
I know, up there eating.
Like, that's as terrifying.
I think
kid.
when we were kids, we'd go to the top of the house and eat somewhere where nobody could find you. But then I didn't realize it was a hawk, and that thing was fucking massive, man. His back, he was like this turned, and that thing was fucking huge.
We're very intimidating. We're very similar, right, Tony? Tony likes to eat children on the top of cliffs. And of course,
Just sandwiches. If
anybody trips in the hills, I will eat you too.
Fucking hey, man, you got to be eat or be eaten.
That's right.
And I just get tired climbing to the top. I wouldn't make it.
Yeah, so, as Chicanos, I've been on a skateboard. I'm going to say that you probably...
Please.
Up until it broke in the middle.
Yeah.
First of all, congratulations. You and I are in the California...
He just told me.
I just told him about
Right
it.
before the pandemic, hey, you guys are in. Okay, nobody fucking can go out for 2 years now.
It's closed. No more entries.
Closed.
We are the last ones.
Did you fall at the induction of the California Hall of Fame on the skateboard?
No, I mean, I
You
fall
slipped.
a lot.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, most likely, because they had a little ramp.
But it wasn't secure.
It's funny because he just said that. I said, yeah, I'm walking on the red carpet, and then there's a little mini ramp, and all these kids skating. And he's like, I bet they didn't make George do stand-up on the red carpet.
Right. It's kind of bullshit, don't you
They
think?
put a
Like,
lowrider there, so they go, "Hey, Jordan's a lowrider." fucking, I'm like, "Hey, all right, I guess."
they want you to drive it
They
around.
want me to
or-
drive it around, pick up day labor.
Right.
Hey, guys, we're doing
May
some
as
painting.
well.
So they didn't have me do step, which they would have had a microphone. They would be the equivalent if they would have had a microphone. Say, "Hey, thank you everybody for coming out." How about that RuPaul, huh?
Yeah. So
We were
obviously,
together all day, didn't say a word to anybody.
so obviously, as I walked by, all the kids were like, "Hey,
God,
come-"
yeah.
you know." I go, "Okay, I'll skate." And then I think I tried to drop from the railing.
Yeah.
And then they had a railing mini ramp, right? So like a 4-foot railing, and
Yep.
then I did tail drop from there, and
Of course you did.
and washed out the first time.
Yeah. That's,
So that's probably what he thought.
necessary, Tony. But
Wasn't
I
that
respect
bad, but
They
I'm
speak
sure.
like paramedics. You know that? Like I was just skateboarding. I went down and I turned my ankle, I hit my head on the sidewalk.
It's Dr. Skateboard. We're pretty close to doctors.
Yeah.
When it comes
Yeah.
to certain breaks and torn ligaments, we know better. Like, if you tell a doctor when you get there, you know what the injury is, they find that to be a little bit rude. And we know that because
Sure.
we've been so many times. But if I say, "Hey man, I blew my ACL out," they're like, "Well, we'll be the
we'll
judge of
find
that."
out about that.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, "I've done it 7 times. Like this, I know." But you just wait for them to tell you.
Let's go over a list of all the injuries that each one of us have. You want to go first, Gil? A torn culo. I think
Have you been shot?
A torn culo. I've never been shot. I've lost
torn
a
what?
kidney. He's culo. That's another word for ass.
Oh, right. Yeah, me
I
too.
had my kidneys gone. They cancer in the kidney. I have both knees replaced.
You're a cancer survivor.
Yeah, and I've had something over here. They call
Wait,
it a
don't
watchman.
speed through them. Just take your time.
Take my time.
So you had a kidney removed. I didn't know you had cancer. You just said you had a kidney removed.
I had cancer.
In your kidneys?
Renal carcinoma, my right kidney. They removed my right kidney. Doctor asked me, "You want us to take the mass out?" I said, "Take the whole thing. I don't want you to.
No, I want you to leave it in.
I don't want you to cut out a piece and then tell me later on,
Yeah.
we didn't get it all.
Yeah.
I can live with one." And so that's what he did. And so he took that one out, and 3 weeks later, I was back to work. I mean, I was lucky that it was early detection. They caught it on a body scan. And I asked the doc when I went back to see him, he says, "Hey, you're perfect. You just proved that modern medicine coupled with positive thinking, I mean, you're great."
All right, I didn't ask for the message. I just asked for the injury. I didn't ask for
And
fucking
so
quotes
I
about
was-
life.
I was
and
back,
then I
I
never
was back
wanted
to work
see a
in
flower.
3 weeks.
So then you were tapping your heart after that.
Yeah, I've had a watchman. A
watchman?
A watchman. It's like a little parachute they stick in one of the appendages on my heart.
In the valves or something.
So I won't get a stroke. This is where blood clots form.
Okay, yeah.
Speaking
Because
his
I-
language, he's got.
Yeah,
he's
I've
got
had a heart
issues.
procedure.
Yeah.
I have.
Did they go in through your penis or the little thing on the side?
Yeah,
Like
they
an
go in
artery?
the groin. That's what they did to me. I had a
They went right in the groin.
ablation.
I've had ablation.
They go up in your groin all the way up to there, and then they burn they
Yeah.
fused a valve. It's amazing what they can do. That's crazy. Because I woke up good to go.
Oh man.
So they did that. I've had an ablation. I've had a cardioversion.
Oh, shit.
And then they did this thing, and that blocks it, so I don't get any blood clots.
Okay.
Because of AFib,
Yeah, me too, yeah.
So that takes care of that. And then I've had both knees replaced. Both of them were made out of titanium.
I got one knee replacement.
Yeah, they said
coming.
Do you have
you're, no longer, you're no longer an asset.
Come for the
you're
title.
a liability to the department.
Yeah,
and so
okay.
that's what pushed me out, and everything else.
Well, I
is-
appreciate your work.
What's
man.
more
thank you.
painful? Getting your dick caught in your zipper or a knee replacement?
It's a really good question.
Getting my
Stupid
dick caught in my
little bit.
zipper, no
There's
doubt.
pain, right?
What?
No doubt. Yeah, the knee replacement. I never took after knee replacement. Never took anything for pain. I have a high pain tolerance. Never took anything for pain for my kidney. You mess with my dick, it's gonna hurt.
Wow.
And I got 10 pounds of extra foreskin just laying there.
We'll make sandwiches later.
Wow, that was a lot.
I'm sure you got. Do you use THC?
No, not really.
This is a Vicks mentholatum rub that has CBD and THC. It's a pain.
shit.
It's
It's
a pain
the
reliever.
bomb.
Oh wow.
And this is quite incredible.
Yeah.
So that
It is the bomb.
But that means
I'll try it.
it doesn't get you high.
no, but
So
it
you
takes
can do it.
but it takes away the pain, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you
No,
know,
I do CBD and THC all day.
But but as a
And I'm sore, you
as
know?
a rub, that use it at night.
All right.
and I guarantee you
I
that
swear by it.
that it works.
you.
Because I know as you get older, I tore my Achilles. I had some arthritis in the Achilles in the morning. I went to a chiropractor, and then it doesn't take away. And this at night relieves the ache in it, and it just scar tissue, and it doesn't hurt as much. But yes. And
Have you tried ice bath?
No.
It's the future.
It is.
Yeah.
Like
if
when
you
it's
want to
really,
recover,
really
if you
fucking
want to
cold?
stay young, want to stay
Yeah, I
energized,
mean,
go in the ice bath.
It's
every day.
hardcore, but yeah, it works. Yep.
3 minutes.
Wow.
3 minutes of.
You have an ice bath at your house?
Yeah. I got him one too.
You got me one, yeah.
Oh, so there's an actual.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's got to the point. I used to have a meat freezer. I just filled it up with water, and I would have a temperature gauge in the water, so I knew what temperature it was all the time. I had a timer on it, so it would stay the right temperature. A couple of times I forgot and turned the whole thing into a giant ice block, which cracked the fridge and made it leak. So note to self, don't do that. But then I found through another friend, there's like it's called cold plunge, and it has a filter and stays and it's like it's a really nice looking bath.
How big is it? We're gonna put a picture of it, but how
have-
big is it?
It's the same
It's
as
a
a
tub.
bathtub,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do they come in extra large?
You'd fit in it, dude.
fit
You
in,
ain't
yeah.
that. Calm down. You're all right.
But you would just need that much ice, though.
It's funny. Right after we got ours, we have a bunch of kids, and they were all home from college. And then we looked outside, and they're all daring each other and timing each other to see how long they could do it for.
It's hard.
Yeah, and what it does to your explain to me what it does to your body.
Lots of things. I mean, first of all, inflammation. It takes that down. But also, there's like a scientific thing that, for me, I use it because I'm sore all the time, but I also use it to help with my moods because I'm a emotional guy. And if I go in there, if I'm having a bad day and I go in there for 3 minutes, I'm just a little bit happier. That's just the fact. So it helps with your immune system. Helps with a lot of stuff. But I feel like I do the sauna and then I do that because it's easier to get in there really hot instead of just going in there. It's better if you go in the sauna and you're really hot and you're like, man, I'm so hot I would do anything to be cold. Well, I got something for you. Get on the fucking cold.
So it's almost like when you're running, somebody throws the ball ahead of time, you have to catch it. So you're hot. So when you get in there,
It's a
not
better
as much of
idea.
a-
It's better.
Yeah.
It makes it easier. If you're going to do it every day, it makes it way easier.
Does it make its own ice?
It's not
Somehow
nice.
somehow the apple-
No. If it goes to, because this one, you see the one where they have water and they put ice in it
but
to
yours
make
is
it
just
cold.
cold water.
It
It
just
stays
runs through
cold.
a filter.
It runs through a filter. I love
Yeah.
that.
Don't be afraid, George. Just get in there. Go on, do it.
3 minutes is a long. 3 minutes is a long time.
It is. 1 minute, no worries. The next two,
Yeah.
not so good.
So you probably work up to. You don't go in there for
I just
longer
cuss.
than 3 minutes.
I
but
just
sure.
cuss and talk. My neighbors probably freak out. But
Is there
people
better
do the breathing exercises,
Yeah.
and I've tried that. It is
doesn't
good,
work.
but I find if I just say fuck a lot, fuck, yeah, what the fuck am I doing? Shit,
It makes you breathe.
This is ridiculous. That's how I get 3 minutes.
Like, what injuries have you had?
I mean, I can't keep up, but I've torn my ligaments, had a knee replacement on one knee. I've had bone spurs in my ankles, snapped my tailbone. I've been knocked out too many times, like over 20. Broke both my wrists like 6 or 7 times. Broke my shoulder, dislocated my shoulder, separated my shoulder. Torn all my in my ligaments, all my tendons, all my all that stuff. I got a bone spur in the joint of my shoulder. I just found out like a week ago. But I went to Colombia and got stem cells. So that shit, I'm a mess, but I work on rehabilitating
work
a
on-
lot.
yeah.
So I'm pretty for 50. I'm pretty good.
So
I
when
can
George-
run. Still.
Yeah, you absolutely. Listen, man, you don't walk with a limp. There's no noticeable.
Actually, a little bit right now, but that's because I skated with him yesterday and ate shit a bunch of times.
So
Why you gotta throw me into the mix? Like,
because it's like flying.
It wasn't
with
his
Chuck
fault.
Yeager.
It was
It's
totally
like-
my fault.
It's
All
like
right.
flying with Chuck Yeager. Hey, man, I'm not that good a flyer. Come on, motherfucker. So in the when George Bush, I think the first Bush was in office, he rejected stem cell.
Yeah, you can't get it here.
You can't get it here.
You get it out of your own body here, which means there's not enough stem. They take it out of your spine and then they spin it on this platelet thing.
I did it in my knee here.
But in Colombia, they take it from the umbilical cord. So they check the parents, and then when the baby's born, they take the placenta and the umbilical cord, and they take the stem cells out of that, and then the stem cells you get are, like I got 40 million in my shoulder, 40 million in each knee, 100 million in an IV, and when you get it in your back, I got like 100,000.
And how do you guys feel when you have that done after you have the? procedure?
I didn't do that, but I did my knee with my own.
Is it blood spinning they call it? Or?
That's what
That's
they did.
PRP.
PRP. I did that in my knee. When they put it in my knee, it was the most pain I've ever been in, honestly, because it felt like they were taking a wedge, just pulling my patella up.
Yeah, no anesthesia, big fat needle right past it.
But then I was skating, so I had torn my PCL. I was skating 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Without even worrying about it.
And it's your body doing it. They have to put it in there. They
Yeah.
have to
And
plant it.
I don't pretend to
grows.
understand the technology.
Yeah.
But it works.
Regrows.
And it
injured
regrows
stuff.
because the first blood, that blood from the placenta, is the purest blood of all. Like, because it's fresh. It hasn't been.
I don't know exactly how it works. I just know that it takes away the inflammation, which means the pain's gone, but then it's been proven to regrow. Like if you tear your tendons a lot, if you snap it, you get surgery. You can get stem cell where if it's still attached somewhat, over a period of a year, it will grow bigger and stronger and tighten up again.
I think
it's fucking crazy.
It's funny, you think people have ulterior motives, like, that probably the medical, whatever the medical pharmaceutical in this country would say, well, if they do that, people are going to heal. We don't want people to heal.
No, they
We
want you to
people
have the surgery.
They want you to have pills. They want you to have surgeries.
Yeah,
and I
that's
think,
why.
because Kobe Bryant went to Germany and had it done.
Years ago.
Lee Trevino went and had stem cell, also a procedure where they put like rollers in your back. And
Because he had a spine
and
problem.
he had a spine issue.
Yes.
Got hit by lightning twice, but he couldn't walk up the stairs, couldn't walk, couldn't sound like an old lady. One time I called his house, he's like, hello. I say, Senora, is Lee there? He goes, it's me. Because he's in so much pain that he didn't sound like himself. And then he went to Germany, wherever, I'm sure where they do it. And now he walks, he's 82 years old.
It's
Looks
amazing. I
incredible.
swear by
amazing.
it.
Yeah.
It got me to skate again.
And in all of those injuries, did you immediately know? Because I think you know your body, but do you know what's wrong? If I fell and hurt myself, I wouldn't know that I did my PCL.
We've talked about it. When we get hurt, it's more of a I'm pissed because I know what's coming next, because I know what the injury is and I know what the rehab is and I know the surgery. So it's not.
Yeah.
It's never like the pain. It's more like fuck. That's like 6 months.
Exactly.
I know it's 6 months. I know it's rehab. I know it's all this other shit.
Did you box as a career or did you box as a hobby?
I got into boxing when I moved up to Hollywood to be a radio host, and there was no vert ramp. So I got into mixed martial arts to fill the gap of not being a skateboarder anymore. And then because I'm such an idiot, like as soon as I got into fighting and I met real fighters, I was like, whoa, real fight sounds crazy. Like, I want to do that. And then next thing you know, I'm a fucking old man that's like signing up to be a pro MMA fighter. People are like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, just want the experience, man. They're like, you're going to get an experience. I just don't know if you want that, but
Do you like getting hit?
I love it.
I think so. I saw some video. I said, this dude, there's a dude that you punched straight in the face. He had like a smirk, you said, and you said,
I'll break your hand
I'm going to
with my
wipe this
face.
motherfucker. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'll eat your hand.
I thought this guy is one of those dudes
He
that
puts on
loves-
his own fighting event.
Yeah, I
It's
understand.
mainly comedy, but
I wanna check
there's
it
a
out.
couple of real fights on the card as well.
What is an MMA round? Three minutes?
5.
Okay.
3 5-minute rounds. It's a lot of cardio.
Don't look at me. I'm not
Guys,
getting
ready? All right.
No. I went to a fight with Tito Ortiz
Yeah, back in the day.
in San Diego as an older guy. One of his last fights, and both of those dudes were almost going like this.
Oh, you're talking about Chuck Liddell.
Yeah, one
That-
of them.
Where it was like the rubber fight, but it was like 20 years after the last time
Yeah,
they fought.
yeah. It's. I mean, your legs go, and those guys were they were exhausted, man. They were beat.
Yeah.
They were beat. 5 minutes doesn't seem like a lot.
Well, that's the other thing. When you get older, it's just the way it is. When you get older, you get tired faster.
Angelo Dundee told me that when a fighter turned 30, for his birthday, your legs go. Some fighters have legs longer. But you go 29, you're like, pap, 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 pap. And 30, you're like, what? Because everything's derived from the everything.
But then
derives
there's
from the legs.
what is it? Who beat like the heavyweight
Foreman.
guy? Foreman was old and out of shape, but he had technique and strategy and like wore people out without doing that much physical like action. It was like he beat people. He became the champion when he was like, I don't know how old. He's like in his 40s.
For maybe
he was
50,
big.
almost 50. Did you see the punch he hit Michael Moore?
That's the fight.
You see that little head, that little short little jab? That
Yep.
dude was out. They got hit by like fucking the semi.
He got hit a lot in that fight
And
too.
he hit him with that short little punch, and he went down, and he thought about getting up, and he just laid back down, and that thing because of who he is and how he knew how to throw it.
George Foreman had some of the biggest hands I've ever shook. I shook his hand. It was big, fat, puffy, but he was an animal.
Salt or just normal hand size?
No, big. Yeah. Big hands.
Okay, the Salt does that too. Tony, what injuries have you had?
Honestly,
But do people that are fans of yours and people around the world, do they know your injuries, or are you one of those people that would just almost keep it to yourself? In a sense?
Some of mine have been significant enough that they've sort of made news. So there's those that people know about, but I don't promote it or blast it out there.
This is how much he doesn't promote it. He got a movie just came out, documentary, Till the Wheels Fall Off.
Yeah,
and
great title.
I watched it, and I've been skating with him my whole life, and I did not know that he'd been hurt that much. I did not know.
That's always a great sign of a good documentary.
My 22-year-old grandson was so stoked when he found out that you were going to be on the show today. And
also, it's the first time somebody in their 70s has used stoked in the proper context.
That's a good point.
Well, go ahead.
One of these days I'll make him happy, really. He was so stoked that I was coming down here. And I said, he said, know about him. He says, Papa, that guy's broken almost every bone in his body. He says, I used video games. He says, I was stuck on video games. I used to hate for him to be on the skateboard because he was playing football. And I said, man, you're going to break bones. You're not going to be out there. You're going to jag it up at school. But he was so stoked because you were going to be here. But he knows about your
thank you.
injuries. And,
my injury, yeah. Well, I guess.
And knows how
you don't have to say. You don't have to say.
No, I don't care.
If Evel Knievel was alive today, who would win in a foot race? You or him? Because he broke every bone in his body.
Right now?
I met him when he was older. He wasn't moving very well.
He was not.
He'd win.
But I did. I've had a lot of concussions like him, unfortunately. Let's see. I broke my elbow. I broke my pelvis. I broke my femur 2 months ago. Still coming back from that one.
That's a huge
separated my shoulder. 2 knee surgery on this knee. 1 knee surgery on this knee. One was both cartilage. Other than that, my ankles are just loose.
Yeah.
Like I never broke them, but they roll really easily. It's almost like I would have benefited from breaking them.
Yeah.
At the time.
And rolling ankles just.
That's just and for what we do, forever. That's part of life.
Yeah.
That's why I gave up. That is literally why I gave up street skating.
Because of
Yeah. I rolled my ankle super bad on tour one time. I had it all taped up.
Oh man.
We went just shooting, like messing around downtown in between our tour stops.
Yeah.
Went down these little 3 stairs, rolled the other one just as bad. And then I'm on tour with both my ankles taped up so they can't move. And I was like, this is a sign that I should not street skate anymore.
Do guys that skate, do they tape their ankles? Guys that skate competitively? No, they don't. Because you can't have you have to be able to have it move.
Well, but what we do, we mostly skate ramps, which is like radius, and when we fall, we knee slide down the ramp. When you're street skating, you just got to run out of everything, and you got to take the impact. And when you grow up skating how we do, you don't know how to do that.
Right.
You just don't have that way of falling.
Yeah, we fall bad.
But I think the benefits of skating lasting as long as it has is that it has shown kids that are starting to skate how to prepare yourself or how not to be injured, or maybe you like looking back on the history of something, you could say, well, I got to be prepared that this might happen or that might happen. Where you guys were innovators. That was maybe
and our equipment was really shitty. So
was.
The first time I got knocked out was just because all I was wearing was plastic on my head with some foam around it because that's all we had. That's all they knew. Nowadays, the helmets are of the standard that they'll save your life. Like my helmet has saved my life for sure.
Wow. When now kids wear helmets when they ride bikes. Cut to maybe 1973. My grandmother bought me a Schwinn bike. Nice. And the guy recommended that I get a helmet. And my grandmother said, well, that's 2 gifts. So pick the fucking bike or pick the helmet.
Wow.
Because that's 2 things.
Yep.
And the bike had 2
what a
tires.
Core memory.
I'm surprised she didn't think, because I remember right now, I can tell you, I was at Peddler's West in San Fernando, I was at the cash register, and she looked down at me and she goes, that's 2 gifts. So if you want the bike or you want the helmet? I'm like, I'll take the bike.
Yeah.
And of course, I've hit my fucking head all over the place, man. How did it break? I went to the doctor, how'd you break your nose? I said, I don't remember. But now they're all prepared to have injuries and stuff like that. And just, I mean, I don't think we even thought about hitting our heads. Maybe if you fell off a skateboard or riding a bike.
Well, in our day,
a dirt
especially
bike.
you're talking about 70s, you were just
Yeah.
like, oh, you rang your bell.
Yeah.
You know, that was
Yeah,
it. It
that
was like,
it.
all right, get back out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had no idea.
They didn't come up until 70s and 80s. Like, I had a Harley, and I was riding my Harley without a helmet.
What about the first skateboards that came out that you could buy with the metal wheels? That do you remember those? That were just
I'm not as old
kind
as
of-
We were luckily we missed that era.
Let me
so we
tell
got
you,
in right after that.
Have you had a skateboard and you and your friends went down? They had metal wheels and they were
Yep.
about that thin.
Yep.
And you went
They were
down.
from roller skates.
They were the ones that roller skates.
Really?
And
That's
you
what
went
they
down a
used to do.
hill that was remotely long and you didn't fall. Your asshole would vibrate for maybe 10 days afterwards. That's all you just. But I was around when they went to the urethane wheel and just everything. To me, everything changed when you went to the urethane wheel.
That was it. I mean, I was lucky that I got into skating right at that era.
Yeah.
Because if I had to ride metal or clay wheels, I don't think
clay,
I would
that's
have
right.
made it through
They were
or have
clay.
been that interested in it.
They were clay wheels too. That's
Yeah.
right. The kind of pink, reddish,
Yep.
salmon color ones.
The steel wheels used to come. I remember, I can remember that, the old steel skates that you'd screw
Yeah.
onto your shoes. They would just take those wheels off and put them on a piece of wood.
Those
Then
are the
a
original
2x4.
skateboards. Yep.
Those were the
And
original.
that's what
skateboards.
you. 2x4 would hold you up.
When did the 2x4? Yeah.
Gentlemen, it is all about confidence when it's time for sex, right? Sometimes stress, anxiety, a bad day, just the state of the world out there right now, all that stuff can affect your performance, can get in your head, sort of ruin the fun for all of you. Thankfully, BlueChew.com is here and they're coming to the rescue. If you haven't heard of it, Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form, and, this is one of the best parts, at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets help men achieve harder and stronger erections and combats all forms of ED. Because Blue Chew is an online prescription service, there are no visits to the doctor's office, none of that awkward conversation stuff, no awkward waiting in line at the pharmacy, and it ships right to your door in a discreet package. No one's going to know what's coming to you. They just think it's your latest Amazon box. It's a beautiful thing. The process is simple. You just sign up at BlueChew.com. You consult briefly with one of their licensed medical providers, and then once you're approved, you receive your prescription within days. Best part, it is all done online. You don't even have to leave the house. You know, sex should be the best part of your day when you get to have it, that is. And we don't want that to get ruined by getting in your head, anything that's going on in your life, anything on your mind, stuff like that. So the chewables from BlueChew.com can really help and make sure that you're able to perform at your best every time that you get the opportunity to have a little fun out there. So here's a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code OMGHI at checkout, and you just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code OMGHI, to receive your first month free.
Who's the biggest innovator of like skating equipment from back in the you? I think, but
For equipment?
yeah, back in the when you went, like, what were the names that they would say, like, hey, you gotta get
Oh, the
equipment,
brand
yeah.
names?
Yeah.
Oh man, well we were just talking about when urethane wheels started. Road Rider 4s that was the Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
No one could get them. In fact, I just bought a set on eBay that were slightly used for $1,000.
Wow.
See what I'm saying?
Like
Yeah.
that's how sought after they were back in the day.
Yeah.
But through the years, I mean, you could probably help me, Kevin. But it would been in our area. It would have been Sims, GNS, Logan Erskine, Bane. My first skateboard was a Bane. Those were the OGs. And then through the 80s, the big names were Powell, Vision,
Right.
Sims, Santa Cruz, GNS,
It was Protect the pads.
Rector.
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
Rector pads. So if you had Rector pads,
You were in it.
You were the most
you were-
safe.
yeah, but also just it was like you were Johnny Come Lately. You know, it was Christmas morning. Like you get Rector pads, Mad Rat shorts, neon gloves. That was
Like
it.
it's like going when you go shopping for back to school clothes. It's the only time you'll
Yeah.
look that fucking neat the whole year. Like,
Yeah.
fucking shit's
Were they
not fresh.
considered sissies because they had all the stuff without?
You had to wear that to go to the skate park back then.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't really an issue. It was more like, are you going to go to skate the pool or not?
Right.
because they're not going to let you in otherwise.
It was a good idea.
Who went in the pool first? I mean, that's fucking brilliant,
The
man.
Dogtown Z-Boys.
Yep.
Fucking brilliant. The idea of that somebody saw an empty pool and said, bro, let's go in there with the skateboards.
Yeah, they were
it's brilliant.
surfers. I mean, I think that was it. Surfers at heart. So they saw it as a wave. And then when I started skating, that was already established, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Those guys were flying.
They were flying.
You know, and the other guys that were skating were just doing 360s and pirouettes and dancing, and I was like, nah, I want to do that.
Right. So you grew up in, you were in Carlsbad?
San Diego.
In San Diego.
Yeah.
It's in Carlsbad, I think.
Well, Tirasana, my dad was in the Navy.
Yeah.
And then he was stationed there, so we
Did you move around because your dad was in the Navy, or were you?
No, I got lucky that I was the youngest of 4 kids, so he finally ended his naval career in San Diego. But all my brothers and sisters, my brother and my sisters had to move all around.
So did you guys play baseball or football
Yeah.
when you were growing up? Yeah,
Yep.
did you? In Australia, you
mean cricket?
Cricket? Yeah, well, you're gonna explain cricket to me later on.
I don't really get it.
That'll
They
take too
played for
long.
fucking 5 days, I think somebody said.
I think they play 5 days so that the crowd can drink and not be home with their wives. I always felt like that was the
Let's
whole
bring that
point of
game
it.
over here.
So in your thing you had, would you consider yourself? It said hyperactive. Were you?
Yeah.
Were you? Did you take any medicine for that? Or,
No,
or
I
just
mean,
how you fucking sit
I feel like it
still?
was just the general diagnosis
Yeah.
for kids my
For
age.
kids like
you know,
he's hyperactive.
Yeah, latchkey kids. It was
Yeah.
just like, I don't know, he's always wants to do something.
So a latchkey kid, you know what a latchkey kid is?
Yeah.
Somebody that's when somebody get home, nobody's home.
yeah, both parents working.
And they leave a door open, and then you either
That's
come to
it.
the window.
Yeah.
So, there used to be a commercial even about latchkey kids, and they don't even. I mean, it's criminal, I think, now that if you get home and nobody's home, and your kids aren't, and you get no parent around, they'd be like, I think that kid's been abandoned. Like, no, my parents are just out. But now you can't leave a
yeah,
kid
I
alone
mean,
for a
from
second.
age 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Walking home from school and just go home,
And the side doors
Yeah.
open. Go to the windows open.
watch
side
and Leave It to
door.
Beaver and
That's right.
Bugs Bunny, and like just that was it.
What the fuck happened to kids where you can't leave a kid alone, or you can't go home by himself and not freak out that his parents aren't there with a snack, or some comforting words.
It's a different
But we
time.
sat there watching
It's a different
Leave It to
time.
Beaver and the fucking rifleman and shit. Happy as fuck. They got home. They'd be like, oh fuck, they're home. And start jacking off.
Now they got to worry about computers. The family's gone, the kids are there
Yeah.
looking at porno.
I think that you can benefit a kid from having both parents, but also I think you can hurt a kid by having both parents. If your parents are what they would consider helicopter parents, or they do everything for you.
a fine line.
It's a fine line.
Yeah.
Because you want them to be able to be self-sufficient, but they're not.
Yeah, my wife and I have that conversation all the time where it's like, remember you had to go to the bank? Like you had to go to the bank with your mom and wait in that line, and there was no choice. You had no one's offering to do something else with you or play dates and stuff like that. It was just like,
Listen, play days where they call your friend, your parent will call your friend's house, and then they'll say, "Can Gil play Saturday afternoon?" And they'll be like, "Sure." And then your mom will say, "I'll set you up with a play date with that kid." I fucking like that kid. What the fuck is-
yes, exactly.
And then ours was like, if the garage door was open, your friend was home.
Yeah, or all the bikes were on the lawn.
All the bikes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was one of 7 kids, and nobody gave a shit about a play day. Hey,
Yeah.
dark, come home, daylight, you're gone. You know?
Yep. I mean,
My dad, I remember like, hey, can my friend spend the night? He's like, I don't care.
Really?
Every time.
That's the way it was.
Yeah. Like, what? Fucking do what you want. It's your room. I don't care. Go.
so your dad was in the military. Was he like the dad? Was he a hard ass or a good dude?
He seemed to everyone else. He seemed like a hard ass, but he was pretty soft.
Yeah.
But he definitely came off as gruff and rubbed people the wrong way.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't have a dad, but you want a dad that would say, hey, fuck you. Don't worry about it. Come on, let's go. That had your back.
Yeah, it was kind of like that.
Yeah.
But to a point where it was invasive,
Yeah.
where he would sort of fight these my battles, and
Yeah.
then I would just be like, oh man, now it's worse.
You know what? It's true. That we fought our own battles, and they made you fight your own battles. But now, if your parent fights your battle for you, like Tony just said, it make it worse, man.
It's not a good
Yeah.
look.
Nobody fought my battles,
Yeah.
and I made sure that we didn't interfere. I was cognizant of that, not interfere with my kids' battles. You know, I can remember my mom grabbing me saying, "No, pendejo, get out there. You did it, go." And they had to learn how to fight their own.
These two guys were fighting. They were guys I grew up with, kind of guys in the neighborhood you like and you didn't like, and they were fighting. And the dad came home as they were fighting, and they kept fighting. Nobody stopped fighting. So all the kid friends are in the front yard, and these two dudes are fighting. They got each other in a headlock like this, and the kids upside down. They turn each other around, and punching them and shit. The dad gets home, and he looks at him, and we're all looking at him. He goes, "No, let him fight." The dad said, "Let him fight. Let him fight." And then the dude was upside down, and he was like having little like spit bubbles coming, like he's losing consciousness. And his dad goes, "You want to go to McDonald's, Abram?" And he goes, "Come on, fucking kick his ass. Kick his ass and I'll take you to McDonald's." That was like his, the corner man telling you to and he choked him out, and he just like went limp, and then the guy took off, and all the guys are patting him on the back, leaving the guy limp like that.
Did he go to McDonald's?
Dad said, "Forget about McDonald's." He went in and slammed the door on him. But I mean, it's beautiful, man. You couldn't get that shit. He came home and we backed up. We didn't even run. We just backed up. He goes, "No, let him fight." And then he flipped him over. And I mean, and now kids will never fight. They'll never, never kill an animal by accident, or they'll never break a window. They'll never throw a rock.
Well, they still do that.
Yeah, do they?
Yeah. I got a 13-year-old.
They're still subversive.
Yeah.
But everyone's everyone's got cameras, so it's hard.
Do you agree with when they look back at this time in our lives and they'll say, what was the single most destructive thing of the last couple generations? They say it'll be the internet. That's the most destructive thing to mankind or humankind, because it took away the conversation that people would have.
Sure.
It took away
and facts.
It took away the fucking, it's on the tip of my tongue. God, who's that fucking dude? And then the guy next to you is like,
Sure.
It took away the whole conversation where everybody now thinks they know everything, or can report things if somebody, is drunk. I fell asleep in a casino, maybe 10 years ago.
I remember that.
And I was fucked up. And then when the police got me, I said, how do all these cops get in my room? But I was lit up, man. I was fucked up. I was in Canada at the Caesars Palace over the other side of Detroit. And nobody knows why I drank maybe 23 shots of Patron. I had just gotten divorced, and I had the day before, I had breakfast with my business manager, and he told me how much I had to pay my ex-wife. And the next day I was flying, and I started drinking on the plane, and it didn't stop after. And man.
Yep.
So even though I didn't get arrested, they thought I got arrested. And
Are you saying it's because of the age of social media that caused that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember getting up or falling. I remember where I was, but it's that I was sitting down drinking, and when I got up.
Did you go to sleep?
No, I just fell down.
Oh, so you were just lying there for a second.
So why did the cops come?
Because the cops came from the hotel, and then they called the police, and I didn't get arrested for public drunkenness. The cop took me to the hospital to emergency for whatever, because I fell, and I told him I hurt. I don't remember. I told him and then the cop waited for me. This is in Canada, by the way. So, they have more.
Yeah.
The cop, he didn't shoot me. He waited for me. And
was
then
he a Mountie? Was he on a horse?
No, he was. That would have been awesome. And then he dropped me off at the hotel, and he said before he left, he said, "Can I take a selfie with you?" And I said, "Come on." So I'm hammered, and there's an officer, and we took a selfie, and then I wandered back up to the 35th floor.
Oh, so it just made news. It wasn't.
It just made news. The next day, I was in TMZ, and then my publicist called and said, "Hey, you want to tell me what happened last night?" I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Have you seen TMZ?" And I said, "No." And then I was fucking,
I thought it was cool.
I got up. I said, "Hey, I fell asleep in the casinos. Now I fell asleep at Home Depot or Whole Foods."
Yeah, right. It was where they were serving free drinks.
Alcohol.
Right. Yeah. Got that.
But I think you're right. I think the camera and the video, and if somebody's videotaping you without your consent, what's the law if somebody's videotaping without your consent? If you have an argument with your wife in the parking lot, and then someone comes up to me and they're doing this, what's
I don't know what the law is. I dealt with murders. I didn't deal with.
But that's going to potentially be a murder, maybe. I mean, don't you want to prevent murders?
think I had a little
Can I only talk to you about shit that happens after people die?
Man,
not before?
let me deal with it when they're dead.
It's like Minority Report. You gotta be ready. Pre-crime.
I don't know. I know I can't record you without your consent,
Like a
voice
phone call or
recording.
something like that.
You have to know it in order for me to be able to use it.
What's more dangerous?
I don't know that out in the public it's against the law to take a video of anybody.
Okay,
According
so
to
I'm okay.
TikTok, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Exactly.
I don't
What's
think
more
there is.
Public, you're allowed to do it.
Yeah.
In public, so that guy could go around you guys and just say, "Hey, man, don't videotape me," and he could.
Yeah.
I'm in
You
public.
can say too bad I'm in public.
Yeah, no expectation.
I
of
don't think
privacy.
there is any violation there.
Yeah, they do it all the time when Karens flip out at Starbucks.
Sure.
The person films. She goes, I don't approve of your videoing, and the guy goes, stiff shit.
I love watching Karens
Yeah.
get
It's pretty
their ass
fun.
kicked.
The response is World Star.
World Star.
Most deadpan world stuff.
The best one
Deadpan
is,
is the best.
is when the cops talk to you and you're in a public area videoing. You don't have to answer any questions, and now because that's the internet has shown everyone that.
Oh, yeah.
So people with less of an education will do that, or they're like, "Can I see some identification?" And the person will not answer them. It's like, "Can I see some identification?" I don't answer questions. And it's like, "Oh, you're that guy, huh?" And it looks. Most of the videos I watch, the officer leaves. It seems like. If you're in the right spot,
Do you have to answer, or can you say, "I want a lawyer"? then you can't talk to
you
anyone?
right there here.
You have to be
you'd
suspected
hooked.
of a crime.
Get out of that car. You don't have to be on just a regular traffic stop.
Yeah.
You have to ask for identification. You have to answer the question. They don't. You can hook them right out of the car.
Is it
they don't
different
answer?
states? Because TikTok,
I can only say what happens here.
people
I don't
flex
know about other-
hard
On cops.
on that. Yeah,
The
it's
big
not
thing
worth
on
it
the
to me. I'm
internet-
like, here's my ID. What the?
I wouldn't do it.
Why are we doing
the
this?
big thing on the internet right now is people claiming they don't have to do shit because they're not citizens of the United States. They're something
Sovereign citizens? Is that?
Yeah.
Is that what, I've heard about that. Yeah.
sovereign citizens. You don't have to. You don't have to.
What are they, part of royal family or something?
They just think you don't have to obey the laws. Those laws are for other people, not for them. And every one of them that I see like that ends up getting hooked up.
Yeah,
They all end up getting hooked up.
that makes sense.
How do you get away saying, "I don't know, I'm the Duke of public drunkenness"? That's your fucking.
That's a hard flex.
That's on a cop.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, LAPD over there, Foothill Division, they're the ones that beat Rodney King. They were allegedly. I probably have to say so I don't
Isn't
get
it
sued.
on video?
It was alleged. No, it was alleged.
Okay.
So I grew up, and we used to go up in that area and play golf. We used to play baseball in that area, and that area was the police department for where I grew up. And at a high school game, the police wanted this area cleared out, and I happened to be walking through at the time that the cops said, "Clear this area out." And he pushed me from behind. And he's a man, so I'm probably like 17, and police officer. He pushed me from behind, and those guys were like, "Hey man, fuck you, fuck you," and I think he could have killed me. I think he might have been able to. I almost broke my neck because I wasn't prepared to be pushed from behind.
Yeah.
And when he pushed me, it snapped. It kind of went back, and I blacked out. And
We call that a chicken neck.
he chickened.
That's an injury in skateboarding that we get a lot.
Yeah, from a sudden,
Not from a cop, but yeah, from our own mistakes.
and I wasn't prepared for it.
So you could have said you were a skateboarder. You got chicken neck.
How long do you think the statute limit take? Can I go back there now and say that I haven't been able to perform
nah,
sexually?
sorry,
but my neck
Holmes.
hurts?
Let's see, you're
Everybody's
17,
looking for
so that was
yeah, looking
like
for-
20 years ago?
Yeah, 20 years ago. Yeah. Is there any question that your nephew wanted to ask? You wanted to ask Sony or no?
My Grant, no. He was awestruck. I'm telling you, he was totally stoked that I was going to be able to come down here and meet with you, be on the show with you today. And he just kept saying, "That's awesome, Papa. That's
That's cool. We should have brought him over.
And I thought all the time. I asked him. I said, "Do you think he knows Rob Deerdick?" Because we're hooked on ridiculousness.
Yes.
I love the show. And I said, "He's
Were you
an old
on that?
skateboarder."
No.
He said, "Do you think he knows Rob Deere?" You know, that's like asking. Let's continue to talk. Let me think of a good one.
Oh, think of a good one. Rob Deerdick is also one of the top 10 noted skateboarders.
All right, keep
that's
keep
what he
digging the
was.
hole.
And hey, I'm not going to say anything now. It's-
No. But
No, seriously, I'm not
Asking
gonna say
Tony
anything.
Hawk if he knows Rob Dyrdek is like asking
I didn't ask
Elvis
him.
Presley. If
I
he
didn't-
knows the singer at the Hilton Hotel.
Just
No,
to
it's not.
clarify things.
No, it's not.
No.
It's
Just
like-
to clarify things, I didn't ask him if he knew him. I asked my grandson
All right, take it easy.
if he thought they knew each
For
other.
a cop, you show emotion. Oh, maybe not. A big
I
chicken
mean, they're
neck twice.
two of the most famous skateboarders in the world.
What's that?
Is Rob was one of the best skateboarders in
He's
the
one
world?
of the most famous.
He was really good at his peak, yeah. Which was more like 90s.
Yeah.
He was a legit pro for sure, and always did really unique video stuff in skate videos. So he was like part personality and part skating, and that's how he merged into doing the
Yeah,
stuff.
and,
he does
and I've
now.
never seen him skating. He just mentions the fact. And
Yeah,
I
he
know-
was a decent pro skater for
And
sure.
so I asked him, since I'm watched as a family, we watch Ridiculous, not for his skateboarding ability, but just because it's a funny show.
Yeah.
And so I asked him, do you think he knows him? And he says, probably they were all skateboarders. You know, I imagine they met each other one time or two.
Yeah, well, and also through those years, especially when Rob was coming up, skating was very small. It was it was in a lull of popularity. The industry was very small. There's only a handful of skate companies, so you knew everybody.
At what point? So in reading about you, like the skateboard to you, or the skateboard for you was, which is what's beautiful about having something that you could, like it became your outlet, right? It became an escape for you to be able to skateboard and just be away, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I never felt like I really fit into team sports.
Yeah.
I enjoyed baseball and basketball, but I didn't excel. I was okay, and I was really, really small. And then
Right.
when I found skating, it was like, oh, I can do this at my own pace.
Right.
I don't have to listen to a coach.
That's what I'm saying.
And there is a community, and the community seemed really cool. They were all misfits and
Yeah.
crazy, punk rock music, and so it was more like, oh, this is where I belong.
Do you think that they're misfits, like, or are they just people that are kind of cool hanging together? Like, eventually I think in cliques of kids, it's like how early, my daughter when was in high school, there was a clique of girls, and then you get heartbroken because those girls don't include you in the things, but it's like, when you see who they are, I mean, do you really want to be around girls?
It's different now. It's more popular to get into skateboarding. When he started
Absolutely.
skateboarding, it wasn't a brag at all. It'd be like, why would you do that?
Yeah, I was immediately when I chose skating and dropped the other sports, I was outcast at school. That was the furthest thing from cool you could do is skating. And then when I was skating, which was kind of ironic, I was so skinny and I did it in this weird style that I became an outcast in skateboarding, and I was like, oh no.
He was.
Wow.
It was, yeah, but I had enough. In fact, my friend Kevin, who's right over here, he and I have been skating together since we were 12 years old, and he and I would bounce the tricks off each other, and we kind of had our own thing and our own crew, so that was enough.
Right. I think it's awesome, man.
It is. My grandson had to have the special shoes, the athletic shoes, the shoes that you wear during skateboarding.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what Tommy Hawk wears.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he had to have the right ones.
For in our day, we had to have Vans. I remember my first pair of Vans. Like 10 years old, my dad brought them home. Drove me to the Van store.
Right.
I got to pick them out. Got the box, and I was just like, I kept checking the friction on everything, every surface.
Is that why Vans were created for skateboarding? Do you think?
Yes and no. I think that they found that they were really good for skateboarding,
Right.
and then Vans just leaned into it
Yeah.
and said, yeah, we're a skate shoe.
They still haven't got a better one.
Amazing, right?
Still the best skate shoe.
There was a Vans store in Granada Hills, and it was a tight.
Look at that.
I mean, look under.
Got the receipts.
And I mean, white dudes wore Vans, and that store is still open, man. It stayed open, and you think this little store with the skateboard in the name, and you think, this place got to be closed. I was over there, and I was driving around, and I said, oh, shit, it's still open. And thriving now. I mean,
Yeah.
truly.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I don't know who owns Vans, or when it probably started.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big shift in skateboarding too, especially in the last 15 years, 20 years, is that it was considered white boy sport.
Right.
And suddenly it was everywhere.
Right.
And everyone was welcomed, and it got really diverse very quickly, and it's awesome.
And then do you remember what the first tricks that you guys started to do that you guys thought you could do, like, and still stand up after the thing is done? Like, I'm gonna do this.
Mine were more technical stuff like turning my board and doing tricks on the coping.
Right.
Not big aerials, because when I first started, I just didn't have the build to get the speed. So I just learned all these they used to call them circus tricks.
Right.
They're like, oh, he does stuff like he's throwing a baton in the air. And that's all I had. So the first trick I ever invented was called a backside varial. It's basically you reach, grab your board and turn it a half a turn under your legs.
Yeah.
And it didn't move the needle, but I was hyped that I made something up.
Right.
Tell me about this.
That trick's like a part of
Fuck yeah,
so
everybody
many
does it.
skateboard tricks now, and he was the first person to do it.
Pretty impressive, man.
What about the 900 that I read where you tried so many times? And,
Yeah, that one I chased for over 10 years.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I did. Mike McGill did the first McTwist, which was a 540 in 1984, and then the next year I learned 720, which is double spin, and then kind of dabbled, tried 900s right after that, and it was just too scary. It was I landed on my back a couple times, and then I like once in a while I would go back to it. And then around 1995, I started getting serious about it, and I started spinning a lot. He was trying them too.
Man.
Didn't work out.
But
That's why he's Tony Hawk and I'm Jason Ellis.
You get laid up. I mean, just the commitment it takes and the risk factor are so huge that it's like you try it for a half hour and you're done for a couple weeks. So I would just keep coming back to it, and then finally figured it out in 1999.
At the X Games.
At the X Games, yeah. I got close before that. Actually landed one and then fell into the bottom of the ramp, broke my rib. In 1994, I did that. And then didn't commit to it again until 5 years later.
And they said he broke some teeth from doing that one.
I broke my teeth doing all kinds of other stuff.
Amazing,
I had
man.
these replaced 5 times.
Oh, wow.
What'd you break your teeth doing that wasn't skateboarding?
Oh, no, it's the other tricks.
Okay.
Amazing, man.
Let's see. 50. What else did I break my teeth on? I tried to do ollie varial back then, like shove it in the air.
Are you not getting your hands?
360 varial Vakey. What's that? I wasn't getting my hands out, yeah.
Because you were doing stuff in concrete, so it's grippy.
Concrete.
All right.
Yeah.
Lost my teeth in the Delmar half pipe. Concrete.
Wow.
Woke up in the ambulance without my teeth.
Oh, Lord. That's some tough guys.
It's weird because it's not tough. It's
Yeah,
like
that's the
he's-
thing is that like it's not something that I like to brag about. It's not. I don't enjoy that aspect of it or trying to promote that. It's just it does happen.
Yeah,
and for what we do, if you're going to make a career out of it, it's probably going to happen.
But also, dudes would probably be at some point, guys would say, you know what, man, fuck this, man. Like
A lot of
my
us
elbow,
did.
I did this, and just,
we
I think
knew
that-
a lot of people
Did you
that-
ever go to a mouthpiece after that if you lost some teeth?
No, my mom wanted me to when I first lost them because it's expensive buying new teeth.
But if you think that you were shunned for being skateboard, show up with a mouthpiece as
knows.
skateboarding. I think
you can't do that.
They're like, motherfucker, it's an honor to. It's an honor to lose teeth and put them back again and again. If that's your,
It sucks at my age, I'll tell you that.
I know, man. They think you're
Kinda
they think
like
you're
a
not
hot
tough.
The
They're like,
last time
I'm
I
tough.
lost a tooth was he and I were doing a little like a doubles routine where we have choreography
Oh,
and
shit.
whatever,
Oh, my
and
God.
and one of us missed a cue, and
Which one?
Which one?
Yeah, I wonder. Okay.
yeah, he went a little. I was supposed to go under him, and he wasn't going quite high enough, and he landed on me. And when he hit the top of my head, my teeth went down, and one tooth just went. Oh God! It's all right.
Thanks, Kevin.
We made it through. It's all right.
What brought you to the United States from Australia?
To be a skateboarder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I moved here when I was. Well, I didn't move here. I came here when I was 17. Like as soon as I was old enough that my parents couldn't control
And you wanted
me.
to compete, so you were good enough to say, I'm going to the United States to compete. Like something. Wow.
Because I knew I'd seen these guys, and there was videos, and a couple of times they came to Australia and did demos, so we got to see it, and I was like, I'm not far off, and I feel like the next step is you go to America and you watch these guys, and you move up, and then you turn pro. I was the first Australian to ever turn pro from a.
I think that's awesome, man.
So it was more of a, I wasn't really sure, but I didn't care. I didn't really have a plan. I was more, I want to be a skateboarder, and America has the skateboarders that I look up to, so I just want to skate with them.
What was the skateboarding scene in Australia?
It was pretty good because it was the next time round. He's been through more waves than me, but when I got into it was in the early 80s where it was just starting to come back again. And he was the star of the show pretty much.
Sure.
First time I went to Australia, it felt like we were Led Zeppelin going to
It was a sea of
foreign
people.
country for the first time.
Yeah,
It was like,
for you.
what?
So I think that hype being around that and and then watching their videos, I was like, oh, I know what I want to be when I grow up. Like undoubtedly I know what I want to be.
Man, that's
so when I went there, I just went in amateur contests. My deal was, because it's a different era, but you win an amateur contest and then you can turn pro.
Right.
So I won an amateur contest and I turned pro, and that was on the tail end of, it was the beginning of skateboarding's end. That was about to be incredibly unpopular, and there was no more money in it. And being a ramp skateboarder was the extra uncool. That was the most unpopular
Street skating
thing.
was such a big thing.
So when I turned pro, I was like top 5 in the world. I got 5th in the World Cup, and they were like, "We can't even pay you." I'm like, "Okay, I guess."
So you got the title.
Yeah,
But it wasn't a place
not
where...
much to it. Yeah,
Yeah, there wasn't
I went
much
back to
to it,
Australia
but a title
and started
different-
working in
yeah.
a supermarket.
Yeah. Oh, wow, man.
Really?
And then I came back 3, maybe 4 times. I think the 4th time I came here for 6 months, because back then you could get a holiday visa for 6 months. So I just stayed and lived on people's couches, and people bought me food and all that kind of stuff. Just other skateboarders taking care of me. And then I think the 4th time is when I got sponsored with a paycheck.
Yeah.
Like $700 a month, I think it was, from Element. And that was, I'd made it. I didn't need
It's almost like being an
anything.
independent band and then a label saying, here's $700
Yeah.
and keep, use our stuff
and fly you around to all the.
And
That was the
fly
most
you
important
around.
part. Is every contest, everywhere they flew me to it, so I was living the life.
And
It was the
in
best.
that skateboard world, do skateboarders get along with each other, or would you say it's like comedy where every comedian hates each other?
I just started doing stand up for the last couple of years, and you guys are way bitchier than we are.
Totally.
You guys are so
You hate
fucking
people
catty.
because they
it's
became
terrifying.
successful. Who would hate somebody because they became successful?
Yeah.
I mean, when I started, like you guys, there was probably 3 Latino comedians. There
Yeah.
was Angel Salazar, Paul Rodriguez. There was me, 1979, and after 42 years, I've had some success. To those dudes, I'm like a sellout, a punk, a queer. You're like, oh, that dude made it, man. It's like there is some respect that has to be shown to somebody who has been doing something for a long time, and you would say, hey, man, respect to you for taking the journey and opening up, avenues that we didn't have before you came along. Silence.
I mean, I think it was a lot cattier in his era where he was
more.
coming up.
It wasn't even about the success. It was more just the. it was just the peanut gallery of like, oh, his lean arrows suck.
Right.
Yeah, but it was, like, some of it was in jest too. So it was.
Yeah.
Everyone was fair game.
Yeah.
Right.
everyone.
And even if you're successful, you're successful and you're winning. But there could be no cries of sellout because there was nothing to sell.
Yeah, nobody
We're like-
came up. It was just we're all one guy's way better, and that's how can you hate on that? He's way better.
The first pro event I ever entered was $100 for first place, 75 for second, 50 for third. I got 4th.
How much is that?
None.
0.
Nice pat on the back.
Just make
Dude, where was it? Where was that?
Whittier, Skate City. Right here.
Whittier, California?
Yeah.
In East LA?
Yeah.
No, Whittier, California, right where Skate City used to be, right there at Washington and Whittier.
What is it now? Mexican Market?
No, they closed down.
Vallarta?
They closed just within the last 4 or 5 years. They closed it down. I don't know what it is now.
Yeah. I mean, I was.
Man, amazing, man.
The main parks back then was Southern California. I lived in San Diego, so my dad would drive me to Whittier, Pomona, Lakewood, Reseda, Upland, and Big O was Orange County.
And then back then, how would you hear about events that were coming out? That because you didn't have, would they be in the paper or would they be just a word of mouth of the guys?
It was such a small industry.
Yeah.
Everyone knew. Whittier. That was called the turkey shoot. Like Whittier turkey shoot. Everyone knew because your sponsor would call you, or I mean they had their. I don't even know if there was a skate magazine then. Everyone found out.
And then back
Pomona, did they call it the skateboarder shoot? That's a tough town.
Pomona Pipe and Pool was a sick park. Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And skate parks started showing up around when in the 90s?
The skate parks?
Yeah.
That was 80s, mid 80s.
But then
And-
there's a second wave.
Yes, and then they all closed by 88, 89. They were
Yeah, all gone.
closed.
I came here to skate these legendary skate parks I saw on
were
video,
closed?
and Upland had been partially demolished. It was over, but there was a little bit left, and somebody drove me there with my other Australian friend, and we skated the one section in the corner that wasn't bulldozed, and we found a piece of tile. And
Just so they could say they skated Upland.
Yeah, just
it was
so we
that
could say it.
legendary. In
Yeah.
the skate circles, it was huge.
And it just how did the wave end? How does it end and how does it start again, Tony?
It ended mostly because skating was going through these cycles of popularity and fad, so it kind of reached the end of that. And liability for skate parks was just impossible.
Right.
Liability insurance was impossible to get. Parks weren't doing enough business to justify it anyway, so they all just shut down. And then skaters took to the streets.
Yep.
And then even though it wasn't popular, it went through a whole revolution of
Right.
style and tricks, and people learned how to skate handrails and
Right.
ledges and jumping stairs. And then it was like, came back around 95, 96, first X Games. And then kids were all about it because they're like, look at these guys. Oh, and they're, and they could do it
Right.
anywhere.
Yeah. When I was a teenager, we had skateboards, and we would go down this little incline there in Mission Hills by Brand Park. Me and my buddies would skateboard
On
Huge
steel
skateboard.
wheels.
At first, and then into some urethane stuff. But I had a house in Hawaii, and they had just blacktopped the street. It was a long street, and it had a kind of downward climb. And I was in my late 40s, and I said to my daughter, I said, we landed in Maui, and then we would take the ferry over to Lanai. I had a house in Lanai, and I said to her, and I was married at the time. I said, we're gonna go into this skate shop right here, and I'm gonna buy a couple of skateboards. And my wife is, I remember my late 40s. She goes, for what? I said, to skateboard that blacktop road in front of the condo.
amazing.
In front of the house. And she goes, bullshit. I said, no, seriously. Like, I love skateboarding when I was growing up. So I bought a little wider board with a little bit of the tape, that keeps your footing on it. Bought my own one, and barefooted in shorts with a white T-shirt, I went down that thing, and I was standing there, and it was going like this, and
Sweet wobbles.
nothing
Yep.
made me happier, man.
Oh, you did it.
you pulled it.
Everything was okay.
Oh.
Okay. Why did
We were
both
waiting
thought-
for the big speed,
I know.
So was
speed
I.
wobbles.
No
So
helmet.
was I.
Pete Rose down the street.
No helmet.
No.
That's
Loved it.
amazing.
Feet bleeding.
Loved
Yeah.
it. Loved
That's
it.
usually how the story goes.
Yeah.
We've heard it many times.
Wait, let me end it. So my daughter had not skateboarded, and she fell and kicked the board out, and it hit me on the side of my ankle.
Doggy bite.
And dropped me.
Yeah.
And I said, why did you kick the board out? She goes, I didn't kick the board. She didn't know what it was, but she did. And then I decided to do it without her. So I wouldn't tell them when I would do it, but I fucking loved it, man.
That's
it's a
awesome,
long
man.
ass street, and I would, not even a street, in front of the thing, and I would just go like this, back and forth. Well, I didn't do this shit. I just went, but it's just the air through there, and then I'll do it late at night or in the morning. Oh man, it was awesome. I never got to a skate park, but
That's enough.
I loved it, man.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, as long as you're having fun, man, it doesn't
It
matter
was,
what one you're doing,
I lost in the divorce, but I'm gonna get another. I'll get another skateboard. I loved it, man. I mean, I remember. doing that with my
You could
buddies.
pave another driveway pretty much anywhere. It doesn't have to be in Lanai.
I've never heard this side of you that you loved it that
But
way.
I live up there in I live up there in Los Angeles, and there's streets that go down, but they're too steep for
Yeah.
a 63-year-old man.
What's that one street that one goes down? Not
But I
one,
would go down
In
Los
Hollywood
Feliz
or-
Boulevard in
Yeah.
the morning. I think I would.
Mulholland?
No.
But going down, I would
There
go.
is a street that people bomb in Hollywood?
Baxter Street.
Oh, okay.
I would go
Yeah.
down.
Oh, with the levels
Oh,
of
that
it.
shit,
Yeah.
forget it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't think. Is there a 62-year-old guy out on the skate tour? No, probably not.
We're coming.
But,
Yeah, we're leading the charge.
Yeah.
Here we go. Just got a few more years.
but at what age does all those things start affecting? I wasn't really paying attention. Was it in the late 30s that we woke up and after doing something that we used to love to do as a kid, and then you realize, oh fuck, I can't move? Is it in the
I've been fighting that off for a long time.
Yeah.
I would say it was in my late 40s when I started to realize my limitations a little more,
Yeah.
where it was like, that trick's just not going to happen again. you know, that motion or that I just can't get into that.
Yeah.
But then I kept fighting it, and then broke my leg 2 months ago. And
Where were you when you broke your leg, Tony?
What was I doing?
Yeah.
McTwist.
It was a silly one.
Yeah, I didn't have enough speed. It was like I was taking chances. It was stupid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Paid
Did
the
you know
price.
you didn't have enough speed?
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched him.
Everyone knew. Everyone knew I didn't have speed. Yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
you can throw things down, which is part of the fun. Sometimes, like if things don't feel right, and you make an adjustment, and you kind of, I don't know how to put it, but you know,
But like in
like
skating.
sack up. You know, you're
Yeah,
like
you sack up.
like it is what it is. I'm still going to go for
You can
it.
save it, and I've saved it many times. But
right.
I pushed it. I pushed my luck too far.
And do you remember the pain of it? Or,
No,
that's
I
pretty
remember. I
brutal-
remember falling strangely. I kind of like I wasn't quite standing up when I came down the wall, and I was half squat, and then all of a sudden my leg was behind me, and all of a sudden I could feel it detached. Like immediately, I was sliding to a stop, and I looked up, and I was like, I broke my
It was
leg.
pointed the other way for a second.
Yeah.
So when he rolled over, I saw him straighten it, which made me realize that before that it was pointing another way. So I thought he blew his knee out because I've done the same thing, and I was like, oh, he blew his MCL out, and then when the medics came, they cut his shorts, and he had a hole, and I'm like,
Yeah, compound
it's
fracture.
a compound fracture.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it big.
Shit.
Holy shit.
Wow,
Yeah,
man,
you
that's
did.
incredible, man. That's
But he's back, man. We skated yesterday. It's been 2 months.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm back. I'm getting back on the ramp, but my strength is very weak.
but
But to be already back, it's
listen, man. I'm telling you,
It's amazing.
In a time when most people are pussies and they just don't dig in, like you know, when the fact that you gave kids trophies for just signing up to a league, you destroyed the competitive nature in a kid. Like when I was 7 years old, 6 years old, I signed up for Little League, and I had a problem already with emotion. Like I told my coach to go fuck himself. I was 7. And I was on a team that never lost a game, and they sent me down to like with the farm league, which would be just the worst team of the league. And that other team I had to watch win every game and then win a championship. And as much as I love baseball, up until I played in Sunday leagues in LA after high school till about 20, never won a championship. Went down to the last pitch, never won a championship. And I always thought it was because I got punished for not having a better attitude as a kid, and I never won a trophy or never won a championship. And when you start giving kids trophies for participation, what drove me and what really helped me later on in life was the fact that I would always lose and say, next year, we're going to come back, we're going to be better.
Right.
And without the incentive of wanting to either be better or accomplish something yourself, but when you're going to give somebody a trophy, there's really no incentive to dig in. And it's about digging in. It's about when somebody says you can't do it, and you don't even need to tell them I'm going to do it. It just turns on in here.
Yeah.
And when kids lose that or not have it, it's for life.
You can get it. I mean, my kid grew up in that, but he has me. So he's seen that, yeah, you could just fart it away and get a trophy and no one would care. But if you really want to do something in life, you got to put in work. And he grew up in this pussy mentality world, but he isn't.
That's awesome.
He works, he skateboards now. And skateboarding is
That'll teach you.
It really will.
Yeah. But is it?
You're not going to celebrate mediocrity in skateboarding. I'll tell you that.
I think it's just a great thing for somebody to have because it's like a key that you turn and the lights go and it's like,
You
okay,
can
fuck
use it for the
You
rest
dig
of
it.
your life
That's
in
right.
all these other facets. Because
Right.
if you get hurt trying to do something in a parking lot by yourself, and then you try it again and you get hurt, and so on and so forth for a considerable amount of time, and you still go and do it, no one's watching. Like when you're starting skateboarding, you don't have a crowd. You're doing this for you. It's your fight. It's your personal fight. And you make it. And now, because of phones, you got video, so you can show your friends, so there's a bonus. But you might not realize it at the time, but that's how you achieve stuff in life. It doesn't work out a lot, but don't stop. Like, never stop with the plan.
You've inspired me. I'm going to go out and buy a skateboard with training wheels on it now.
Yeah, I was not with that until you said training wheels.
What's that?
I was not with that plan at all until you said training wheels. And I was like, okay, yeah, maybe. That's okay. Keep those wheels on,
How
though,
does
okay?
that work? We're just getting some 215s and we'll be all right.
Yeah, you'd be fine.
Just big wide trucks.
You should not listen
wide
to
load
us,
coming
by the
through.
Congratulations on the thing with Dior and the whole clothing line.
Yeah, that was cool.
Oh, that was just they just invited me to their fashion.
Oh,
show.
you didn't have a. Oh,
No.
Oh,
No.
They made him stuff. Come on, dude. Don't. I would.
Yes.
I was. If it was
Listen,
me,
man,
I'd be
if
like,
it was-
okay,
hey,
let me tell you a little bit about Dior and
Is
me.
he wearing any of the Dior they gave you?
He didn't give it to us. He gave it to other people. I
mean-
missed out on a fucking on a fanny pack. He gave it to somebody else. I was like, oh,
You did.
man, think of me next time.
But I mean, what they were trying to do. I mean, listen, when something gets worldly popular, Dior has skate clothes at their.
They made
at Fashion
skate
Week.
stuff for him.
Yeah, they did, and they had a couple of designers that had skate backgrounds that were working on that collaboration, and so they definitely were influenced by skating. You could tell with the shoes because they were very
Right.
'90s puffy shoes.
Tell him about the pants.
What's that? The pants?
The color they made it and why.
Oh, so the pants I was wearing, they look kind of acid washed. They said no, it's the color of the concrete at Venice Skate Park. And I was like, that's cool.
That's cool.
Dior made custom pants.
Oh man, fucking A, dude.
Sorry, I would just be like this all day.
Did you
they
cry?
made me custom pants.
Did I cry?
Yeah.
No.
Did you say cry? See, I'm with you. I would have teared up a little bit. Did you make these pants to match the bowl because I'm skateboarding? You guys really mean a lot to me. Like I would
I
choke
think I
up.
would have.
Yeah.
It's incredibly. The vision of that to say we're gonna make him pants from the place.
Well,
where he
okay.
used to-
Here's how it came to be. They hit me up and they said, "Hey, do you want to come see our fashion show?" And I've never really been invited to stuff like that on a small scale. I have, and then someone said, "You guys, my wife was like, let's go Dior. Let's go
Yeah,
check it out.
yeah,
Why not?"
Yeah, Dior.
And suddenly I realized that it was very much, there was a lot of skate influence in the line that they were
Yeah,
showing.
yeah.
And then I realized why they wanted me there. Because I thought I was just one of a grab bag of people like, yeah, get him there. He's got a social media following. I don't know why they wanted
wanted
me
you there,
right?
yeah, I mean,
and
you're-
then before I knew it, I'm at a fitting and they're they got all
So
this
cool.
gear and they gave me gear. They gave gear to my wife and set us up in this crazy hotel room nearby the show. And then we went to the thing. We're sitting up front. It was cool.
It is cool shit.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I don't benefit from that necessarily, like down the line. Well, you're saying it's
Yeah.
the line. Like I have
Oh, I
nothing
thought
to
it
do
was-
with
yeah.
But it was a cool experience, and I appreciate that they honored skateboarding. Like that just shows how far we've come
That's right.
in what we
You're
do. Where
yeah, that's what I'm
it was
saying.
the furthest thing from cool when we were kids, and it's the highlight of the Vogue fashion show.
incredible,
like,
right?
it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, he plays himself down. He has to stay grounded or whatever, but I'm not.
But you would have teared up though. I mean, I would have.
When he told me he was going, I'm like, what?
I mean-
did they give you sunglasses? What kind of shoes did you get? He's like, I don't know. And
Listen,
I'm like,
for all the times that the fucking sun went down and you couldn't see where you were going and you might have to pack it in. So we'll do it tomorrow. And you're with your friend and it's getting dark. If you play baseball in the park or whatever, and then it gets dark and you can't throw the ball anymore, and you go, fuck it, we'll do it tomorrow. For all of those times that you went to found something you could skate on and learn the trick on that was just there, either in a ravine or somewhere, and you're like, shit, this place is great, man. We got to tell our friends and come back here. For all those times that kids gave up or kids got hurt and kids said, I don't want to skateboard anymore, they put it in the closet, and then one day they're like, I got my skateboard in there, I'm going to do it again. And they didn't quit. Just like participation trophies, that it's a tremendous honor for that to happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Dior was selling Nike Dior shoes for $5,000 a pair, but I mean, they're Dior. But the commercialization of skating, it's great to be included, but also for times that it stopped and had to start again.
Yeah.
To see that happen is amazing for skateboarding.
Yeah,
that Dior would say, we're going to make these shoes from the 90s.
Yeah.
And-
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it makes it good for the next generation, which is, because I got so much from skateboarding, I really would like to give back in any way possible. And he sets up things for people we don't even know about yet in the future that are going to have a career.
Right.
Like I want to be a skateboarder. And, when I was a kid, it'd be like, well, then are you going to get a job? But now,
It's much more available to them.
What have you not done that you wanted to do? I'm gonna say bucket list
skateboarding?
thing. No, in life. I mean, you've done so many different things in life that you haven't done.
Be a really good comedian. That's what I'm working on.
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah. That's it.
What
I don't
would-
want to. I don't care about the fame or money.
Really?
I just want to be good like you guys.
What would you consider? What would you have to do or accomplish for you to say I'm a really good comedian? To have a special, maybe a Netflix special?
No, because I can tell there's people out there that don't have specials that are really good. Bobby Lee is one of the funniest people I've ever seen. He didn't have a special. So to me, it's more, I want to go up there and like I see these Tim Dillons and all these guys where I know I'm going to own it. And I do own it. And I rip. And everybody goes, wow, that was hilarious. And I go home. That's what I want.
Do you live in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Okay. My friend runs Ruby Tuesdays at the Laugh Factory.
Yeah.
And I would love to get you a spot on a Tuesday night over there.
Yeah, and he's fully.
Okay. You notice his
I'm
breathing-
really glad I brought that up now.
You notice his breathing pattern changing when I did. Okay.
No, to me, it's I just did the comedy store for the first time.
I would love for you to go down there.
He
I
opened
would
for
be
Whitney
so
Cummings in
honored.
San Diego.
I'll be down there that night to watch it. And you're
Yeah,
on
you're not going to
the
get up there?
No.
Maybe do some skateboarding?
But you'll hear him fucking laughing from wherever.
Yeah, it's a guy you want. That's a guy, that laugh makes you
That's
feel
right.
good when you're up there, for
So
sure.
I would love to do that.
I would be honored.
All right, good.
Thank you so much.
And we
Yeah.
never really spent this much time over the. We've met a few times over the years.
Yeah.
But it's an honor to have you guys sitting down. It's an honor to have you
Hey,
here.
it's an honor to
Hey,
be
thanks for
invited.
having us.
Thanks for
And
us. Fun.
congratulations on everything and all the injury. Congratulations on all the injury. because without them, none of us would fucking be here.
Yeah. Now they create stories.
They do. They really do, man. I mean, there's no replacement. From pain, good things can come.
Yeah, as long as you come back.
As long as you
that's
come
the
back.
end of it. Like, if no matter what it is, if you come back. We had a guy on our podcast the other day that has brain cancer, and he skates, and he's got this thing that he's got to wear on his head that
And a backpack that feeds
and
it.
he has a backpack that feeds it with a helmet on
Crazy.
because he won't stop skateboarding. So he figured out a way to have this on while skateboarding.
That's what I'm talking
People
about.
like that, man. Where I'm like, I got a lot of injuries. I'm like, shut the fuck up,
I mean,
Jason. Like,
you're right. How
I
did
don't
you guys
have
decide to do the
brain
podcast?
cancer.
Yeah, I know. Brain cancer? How did you guys decide to do the podcast?
We used to do a show on Sirius XM, and it was
And they
music
didn't pay you,
stories
so
and
you thought
stuff.
they were gonna go-
They did pay us at first, and then he went on to have his own show on the same channel. He basically was the voice of the channel. He got paid really well for that for a while.
in the end, I did pretty good.
Yeah, and then we both. But I left. He got let go of Sirius, and then a couple of years later, he was talking about doing podcasts, and I said, "Why don't we just try to do one?" And here we are.
COVID. They don't sell
yeah.
cars, so they gave Stern all that money, and they cut myself and Jenny McCarthy and a couple of people that got paid too much. Because I also said, like, they were in contract negotiations, and I was like, just so you know, because I can tell things look bad for you guys, if you're going to cut me, like, my check, just fire me, because I'm not going to do that.
Fucking
Because I already felt
like
like
that.
they bottled me, And I was like, if I'm not going to get exactly what I want, I want to do podcasting. Like, I'm
It's free speech.
a younger generation of a broadcaster, and podcasting always made more sense to me when I watched it come up and I was on Sirius XM. I would tell them, hey, you see these guys? Like, we
Right.
need to do what these guys are doing or we're going to get left in the dirt. And then I feel like that's what happened.
Do you think that's the same thing that happened to Netflix? Because Netflix was running the table, and I think they just let
I think
almost
they got
500
lazy,
people.
dude.
They got
I feel like their content became shit.
they were running the table, weren't they? They were on.
Yeah.
They,
Yeah.
They were running the table, man.
They're losing so much right now.
And they've just let like 500 people go, and I mean,
Because it's not
down.
worth watching. And then there's all these new things that come up where you're like, oh, that's just as good. Wait, that might even be better. Because I watched it. I like Netflix, but in the end, it sort of became a habit where you turn your TV on and you go there, and I'm like, I'm just surfing going, no. And I'm like,
You know
what the
what?
fuck happened to Netflix?
it's that that's very true. Like I used to watch Netflix all the time, and now
But I mean, isn't that the cycle of things? Isn't when things just get kind of too big and they don't understand how to maintain? It's not sustainable.
right. And they were making movies, so they were a studio, but they weren't like Paramount TV just started or Peacock
Yeah,
or all
yeah.
those other places. Discovery had
Hulu.
Discovery Plus, Hulu, and they were creating content, but also they weren't making it a studio. To make your channel, your streaming service a studio means you're not going to see a movie for 2 years.
Right.
But if you're streaming, you can get it up and get it on like that, and I think that's where they got left behind.
Right.
That they
It
were
just seemed
making-
lazy.
They were trying to make movies when they should have been making content.
Yeah.
I still watch Netflix.
So do I, but I haven't seen Love on as much.
There is one good documentary on it.
Have you
right
seen
there.
Love on the Spectrum? Yours is on HBO, isn't it?
HBO, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, you got a
No, I
documentary?
haven't seen it.
Yeah, Dr. The
I have a
boy with the
documentary.
tiniest
What's your
weenie.
one?
It's Night Stalker.
I would have watched that if that was out. What's it called?
Night Stalker, Search for a Serial Killer.
Oh, because you're the guy that got that
Yeah.
motherfucker.
Yeah, so that was a
Thank you for that. I'm
Yeah.
sure everybody has
Thank
already
you.
thanked you.
And he was the detective that said it's the same guy, and everybody else said that's bullshit. They motherfucked him all over, and then he said they said no, it's got to be more than one guy. He's like he's the guy that said it's one guy.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
we got him. So
Thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Also, he was at a place where one of his own officers shot at him. So what? Thank you for your service. A sheriff, there was that guy new on the job.
Is this accidental?
Shot at him.
It was a highway patrolman.
Accidentally.
Highway patrol.
No,
No.
intentionally.
Fucking shot at
Intentionally
him.
shot at me. He thought we were bad guys. He was plain clothes.
Oh, okay. That's still
Raged
kind of
in,
an
and then he
accident.
shot at us. His partner was saying, "Hey, they're cops." He says, "I don't know that." He said, "They're sheriff."
Shot at him. And missed him. I mean,
I was gonna say,
missed him. But he was shooting to hit him. He fucking missed him.
I was going to say 2 strikes.
And this is a big
You shot me
target.
and you missed it.
He shot at me. And he
Bad
missed
cop,
me,
bad
motherfucker.
cop.
Did you punch him or anything?
No. I just told him, "Hey, you better take care of business," because it was after a guy that they were trying to stop, and they had hooked him up. And I said, "If you don't take care of business, they're going to lynch him. Worry about that first." Because I learned a long time going in combat, you panic, somebody dies or gets hurt.
Yeah.
Now is not a time to panic. Take care of that shit. Don't.
What
worry
about
me.
after that? Did you punch him
He
in the
got
face?
fired. No, he got fired. They rolled him up. He left. I didn't
Man, that'd be
care.
hard for me not to
Oh my
punch that
God.
dude in the face. I'd be
Well-
like, did you just fucking shoot at me?
I know. Let me know when you want to go to Laugh Factory. Thank you guys. Appreciate your time.
Thank you guys. That was fun.
This
Yeah.
was
Appreciate it. Thanks
one
for
of the
coming out.
best podcasts that I've been involved with you, and I thank you.
You know what?
for
It's
allowing-
different because when you usually kiss ass after the guest has left. So
No, this that's good. This
That
was
was smooth.
sincere.
Thanks, man.
right on. Dude.
I'll tell Rob Dyrdek you said hello.
Do you know him?
Apparently.
Even Rob got let go from MTV. I mean, that's
Wait, did he?
I think so.
Nah, Ridiculous is still on.
I think it's that they're not in production anymore.
Oh. Oh, I didn't know
He's
that.
running the table over there, man.
Yeah, he was.
He still is.
I was going to say probably.
Yeah.
That guy,
Reruns.
he's an advanced human being. Always has
What was
been.
that show? That show was just like almost like what
Jackass
that
was.
comedian
It
was
was
doing
Tosh
on,
O's show, yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel
Apparently,
Tosh,
Rob
yeah.
I know.
told me that he did that show first, and they wouldn't pick it up, and then Tosh O's show came out, and then they picked up his. So he claims that he had the idea. I believe Rob. I don't think Rob's a guy that
No, I don't think so,
steals
yeah.
stuff from people, but he also has many backup plans and many other businesses, and he always has. Back in the skateboarding day where we were only skateboarders and there was probably only 10 skateboarders that made real money, I remember going over to his apartment, turbo Porsche in the driveway, and the first person I ever met that had multiple diamond necklaces, not one, like 25. And I remember, back in the day, we were all trying to get one. You know what I mean? I had one, and I was like, that's my whole life. I can't afford a house, but I've got a gold chain with a diamond on it. And he was like, yeah, look at these. And I was like, oh my, you have a jewelry store in your house. That guy's always been ahead of the game. He's amazing.
I can't wait to go back and talk to my grandson about you guys. It was great.
Oh, thank you.
Tell him that Tony Hawk signed a skateboard for him, but somebody took it on the way.
No,